Welcome to the world of science fiction where the impossible awakens, legends are born, and every journey reshapes destiny. The space station called Verex Prime floated silently above a blue dead star. It was one of the most advanced stations in the galaxy. Aliens from hundreds of species walked through its wide halls, tall ones, small ones, scaled ones, and beings made of light. They all believed one thing: humans were weak. For many cycles, humans were known as workers, traders, and survivors. Never warriors, never leaders. That belief was about to be tested. Inside the Grand Council Hall, the air felt heavy, power shields hummed softly. Alien leaders sat on high platforms, watching the center floor. Today, a human had been invited, not as a guest, but as a curiosity. Ethan Caldwell walked forward alone. No guards, no armor, no visible weapons. He wore simple dark clothes. Nothing special, nothing advanced. Whispers spread across the hall. Some aliens laughed softly. Others watched with cold interest. The Kravix commander leaned forward. His skin was metallic, his eyes glowing red. He spoke with a sharp voice. "Human, you don't need clothes here. This is a place of power, not weakness." The hall echoed with quiet laughter. Ethan stopped walking. He looked up calmly. His face showed no fear, no anger. "These are not clothes," Ethan said. "They are history." The laughter stopped. Several alien leaders exchanged confused looks. History meant nothing in a galaxy ruled by technology. The commander narrowed his eyes. "You think fabric protects you," he said. "You stand before us without armor, without shields, without respect." Ethan did not move. He stood straight, hands relaxed at his sides. "I stand exactly how I need to," he replied. This made the council uneasy. Humans were supposed to lower their heads. They were supposed to beg. This one did neither. Hidden scanners activated around Ethan. They scanned his body, bone density, muscle tension, heart rhythm. The results made no sense. A small alien technician whispered urgently to his leader. "The human body is stable under pressure levels meant for combat species." Another voice followed. "His stress response is controlled. Too controlled." The Kravix commander slammed his claw onto the platform. "Enough," he roared. "You are here because your species wishes for trade access." Ethan nodded once. "Yes," he said, "but also because you called us weak." A low murmur filled the hall. No species challenged the council openly. "You humans survive because others allow it," the commander said. "You hide behind machines and alliances." Ethan took one step forward. The guards raised their weapons. Energy fields locked onto his body. "Careful," the commander warned. Ethan stopped. Then he spoke slowly. "We do not hide. We observe, we learn, and we endure." The word endure echoed strangely. One of the elder aliens, older than the station itself, leaned forward. "You wear no combat suit," the elder said. "Do you believe flesh is stronger than steel?" Ethan met the elder's gaze. "Steel breaks," he said. "Flesh adapts." The council fell silent. That answer was not in any database. Behind the scenes, more data streamed in. Human neural speed, reaction, prediction, pain suppression, indicators. An alarm blinked red, then disappeared. As if someone chose to ignore it, the commander stood tall. "If humans are so confident," he said, "then they will prove it." Ethan did not ask how, he already knew. "The Caldwells have always believed in proof," he said quietly. That name triggered a hidden record. Old files, restricted files, stories from the early expansion era. A junior council member froze. "Commander," he whispered, "the Caldwell name appears in multiple suppressed conflicts." The commander ignored him, or pretended to. "You will remain on Verex Prime," the commander announced. "You will face our judgment." Ethan nodded again. As expected, as guards moved closer, one alien observer spoke softly. "Why is he not afraid?" The answer did not come from Ethan. It came from the data screens. Because fear required uncertainty, and the human had none. As Ethan was escorted away, he glanced once at the council. "Humans do not need armor," he said. "We learned long ago how to survive without it." The doors closed behind him, leaving the council in uneasy silence. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy questioned what it truly knew about humans. The corridors of Verex Prime were cold and silent. Every light hummed softly over smooth metal walls. Ethan Caldwell walked alone, escorted by silent alien guards. But his mind was not on the present, it was on the past. Long before humans reached the stars, long before the galaxy even cared for them, the Caldwell family had learned something others could not. Strength was not in weapons. Strength was not in machines. Strength was in themselves. Ethan remembered the stories his father told him as a child, stories that were almost myths. of ancestors who survived worlds no humans should have lived on, planets scorched with radiation, seas of acid, storms taller than the tallest towers on Verex Prime, yet they endured. The first of the Caldwell line had been captured by alien raiders, thrown into prisons where humans were used for labor, their bodies weak, their minds controlled by fear. But even in those cages, they discovered something extraordinary. The human body could adapt, the human mind could resist, and with training, humans could survive almost anything. Over generations, the family perfected the art. Every Caldwell learned to control their heart, their muscles, their reflexes. They learned to sense danger before it came. They learned to move without sound, to survive without weapons, to fight without fighting. In a secret chamber under the ruins of an old Earth city, Ethan had once touched a relic of the first Caldwell, a small, cracked mask of metal. The mask had belonged to a warrior who had faced aliens stronger than anything in the galaxy, and had won without a weapon, without armor. Ethan felt the weight of that legacy now, as he walked through alien halls, where every creature believed humans were weak, where every eye assumed he would crumble under pressure, yet he did not feel fear, only anticipation. Behind the scenes, in a hidden command room, alien leaders watched the human closely. "This one is not like the others," whispered a silver-scaled officer, his aura. "It is not weak." The elder of the council leaned forward. "Perhaps the legends were true," he said. "The Caldwells may be more than humans." Ethan entered a waiting chamber. Its walls were lined with devices that glowed softly, alien technology designed to test endurance, strength, and mind, but Ethan barely glanced at them. He did not need them, because he had been trained for this his entire life. Every Caldwell before him had prepared him. As he stood there, a holographic display flickered to life. Images of human history appeared, wars, disasters, rebellions, and in the middle, the Caldwells, leading, surviving, inspiring. The aliens had studied humans, but they had never understood the heart of them. They had never seen the full story. A voice spoke from the hologram. "Cold and metallic human, your history is impressive, but history does not make you strong." Ethan smiled faintly. "History makes us patient," he replied. "Patience makes us unstoppable." Suddenly, the chamber doors slammed shut. Red lights flashed across the walls. Sensors hummed loudly. The test had begun. From hidden panels, creatures emerged, twisted, sharp, designed for combat. Ethan remained calm. He watched them carefully, analyzed their movements. He did not attack. He let them make the first move. The first creature lunged fast, deadly, with claws that could tear metal. Ethan stepped aside, moved with perfect timing, every motion controlled, every step measured. The creature stumbled, confused by a human moving without fear. The next one charged, stronger than the first. Ethan ducked, rolled, and grabbed a heavy beam, not as a weapon, but as a shield. The creatures attacked again and again, yet he remained unbroken, unharmed. Back in the council room, alarms rang. "This is impossible," shouted one alien. "They should have died. They should be afraid." Ethan moved silently through the arena. Every strike avoided, every attack countered, not by force, but by skill, by understanding, by patience. And finally, the creatures retreated, confused and defeated. He stood alone in the center, sweat on his brow, but his mind clear. The aliens had just witnessed the impossible, yet none of them understood why. The holographic display glowed again, this time showing the ancient Caldwell archives. Secrets kept hidden for centuries. Training methods, survival techniques, mental conditioning, all the things that made humans dangerous, even when they appeared weak. The silver-scaled officer whispered again. "Perhaps we underestimated them." The elder leaned back. "Yes, perhaps we did." Ethan did not speak. He only waited, because the test was over, but the real challenge had not even begun. Somewhere in the shadows of the station, someone was watching him closely. Someone who knew more about the Caldwells than anyone else. Someone who would change everything. And when they finally made their move, the galaxy would never be the same. Because the legacy of the Caldwells was not just survival. It was domination. It was patience. It was the truth that humans, when pushed, could achieve what no other species could. And the aliens were about to learn it the hard way. The chamber doors opened. Ethan stepped forward, and the galaxy waited. Not knowing the storm that was coming, the arena was massive, stretching farther than the eye could see. Its walls were transparent, showing the stars beyond. Ethan Caldwell stepped inside alone. The alien council watched from high above. Every movement he made was recorded, every heartbeat measured, every breath analyzed. Red lights flashed. A low hum filled the arena. Then the doors slammed shut behind him. The sound echoed like a warning, and from hidden gates, the first creatures appeared. They were terrifying, not like any species humans had seen. Four-legged, armored in black kite, eyes glowing green, teeth sharper than steel. Their claws clicked against the metal floor, and their growls vibrated through the air. Ethan did not move. He only observed every detail, every twitch of their limbs, every shift in weight. Humans did not rely on fear to survive. They relied on focus, on calculation, on instinct. The first creature lunged. Its speed was blinding. Aliens watching from above expected him to be crushed. But Ethan stepped lightly to the side, barely touching the ground. His hand barely brushed its side, and it stumbled, confused. Another creature charged. Even faster. Ethan ducked low, rolled under its legs. He felt the air move against his skin, felt the vibrations of its claws hitting the floor, and without striking, without weapon, he used the arena itself, the walls, the floor, the traps. Every small advantage. He moved like a shadow. The alien council whispered in disbelief. This is impossible. They should have fallen. Ethan faced a larger creature. Its claws glowed with energy. It struck faster than the eye could follow. Ethan timed his movements perfectly. Every step, every pivot, every turn calculated. Then, with a single motion, he guided the creature into a trap. A cage of light snapped around it, and it thrashed violently. Unable to escape, one by one, the creatures attacked. Faster, stronger, more dangerous. Ethan never faltered. He never ran. He adapted. Every creature revealed a weakness. Every strike he avoided made him stronger. The council grew restless. One alien hissed. His body, it bends, but does not break. Another shook its head. His mind, it predicts every attack. Ethan's focus was unbroken. Even as his muscles burned, even as sweat ran down his face, his training kicked in, a lifetime of discipline, passed down from every Caldwell ancestor. Suddenly, the largest creature appeared. Towering, massive, its roar shook the arena. The floor trembled, the walls shivered. It was designed to kill, and yet, Ethan did not blink. He studied its patterns, its movements, its weaknesses, and then he moved faster than any human should. He slipped between its legs, he climbed its back, and used the creature's own strength against it, guiding it toward the glowing trap in the center of the arena. The cage snapped shut, and the creature fell. Trapped, defeated, silence fell. Even the audience of aliens froze. No human had ever done this. No human had survived even a fraction of the trial. And yet here he stood, untouched, calm, victorious. The holographic screens in the arena lit up, data streamed, analyzed, calculated, and one phrase appeared repeatedly: human physiology exceeds known limits. The council members looked at each other. Fear began to creep into their faces. The Kravik's commander stood silently, his glowing eyes fixed on Ethan. This was not supposed to happen. Humans were not supposed to survive this test. Yet one had, alone, without weapons, without armor. Ethan stepped forward. He breathed calmly. His body relaxed, but inside, every nerve was alive, every muscle ready, because he knew this test was only the beginning. The chamber doors opened suddenly, and a new figure appeared. Tall, shadowed, cloaked in black. The council did not recognize it, but Ethan did. It was someone from the past, someone who knew the secrets of the Caldwells, and they were here to watch. The figure spoke softly. "Caldwell, you have done well." Ethan did not answer. He only watched, waiting, because he knew the real test was still coming, and the shadowed figure had not yet acted. The alien council's whispers turned into murmurs of fear. "They are stronger than we believed. They can think faster, react faster, survive more than any other species." Ethan turned, his eyes calm, yet a fire burned inside. The arena had tested his body. Now the galaxy would test his mind, and somewhere, deep in the shadows of Varex Prime, eyes that no one knew were watching, analyzed every step he took, every breath, every heartbeat, because the legacy of the Caldwells was far from over. The first test had ended, but the true challenge, the one that would change the galaxy forever, had only just begun. The council chambers of Varex Prime were filled with tension. Every alien leader shifted uneasily in their seats. They had just witnessed something impossible, a human surviving the first test, without weapons, without armor, and now, whispers of doubt spread through the ranks. Ethan Caldwell stood outside the chambers, his steps silent, confident. The shadowed figure from the arena had followed him, moving unseen, watching, measuring. Inside, the council debated in harsh, clipped voices. "This species, it bends every rule we know," hissed the silver-scaled officer. "They should be fragile, mortal, weak," the elder replied. yet one of them survived with nothing. The Kravik's commander slammed his claw against the table. They have endured traps, creatures, pressure, every test, he roared. They should have died, and yet they stand. A smaller alien, his skin flickering with nervous light, spoke softly. They think faster than we can measure. They react faster than our best combatants, and they learn faster than any species we know. Ethan moved silently through the shadows of the council hall, his eyes scanning, his mind calculating. He was calm, because humans had a secret the galaxy did not understand. They survived not because they were stronger than others, but because they had patience, and patience could become power. The shadowed figure from the arena stepped forward, its voice low, almost a whisper. The human before you is not alone. He is the legacy of a line that has trained for centuries, and every Caldwell before him has prepared for this moment. The council gasped. Some of them recoiled, others leaned forward in disbelief. The words were not in any historical record, not in any database, and yet the figure spoke with certainty. Ethan remained silent outside. He did not need to speak, because the council already feared what they could not see. Fear was creeping into their minds, and fear was dangerous. Prepare the second test, the Kravik's commander ordered, his voice hard, but behind it, a tremor of doubt. The council did not know what this test would reveal, or if humanity could be contained. Meanwhile, in the arena, hidden chambers were activated. Walls shifted, traps rearranged themselves. Energy fields ignited. The second test was far more dangerous than the first, and it would not only test body and mind, but also patience, strategy, and instinct. Ethan entered the arena.com as ever. The creatures from the first test had disappeared, replaced by unknown forms, mechanical, organic, some that seemed to shift shape as they moved. All designed to intimidate, all designed to kill. The alien observers whispered among themselves. They will break. They cannot survive this. Ethan studied the new threats, not with fear, not with doubt, but with calculation. He moved slowly at first, testing, observing, learning, every trap, every motion of the creatures, every fluctuation in the energy fields. Then, as the first attack came, he responded, not with force, but with strategy. He drew the creatures together, used their own strength against them, guided them into the shifting traps, and one by one, they fell. The council gasped again. They are controlling the fight, whispered one. They are thinking faster than our machines, said another. They are adapting. Ethan moved with precision, his body flowing like water, every step calculated, every motion perfect. Yet behind his calm, his mind was alive with possibility. He knew the galaxy would never underestimate humans again, not if he survived this. Suddenly, a massive energy wall descended from the ceiling, trapping him inside the arena. The floor shifted violently. A new wave of creatures surged forward, stronger, faster, deadlier. The council's whispers turned into panic. This cannot be, one hissed. They cannot survive again. Ethan smiled faintly. He had seen this before in training. He had faced impossible situations, and survived, because humans were not fragile. They were patient, they adapted, they endured, using the walls, the energy fields, and the creatures themselves. Ethan created a path through the chaos, moving like a shadow, striking only when necessary, avoiding direct contact, and always controlling the battle, always in command. The shadowed figure observed silently, a faint nod acknowledging Ethan's skill. The council recoiled further, their fear turning into something darker, respect, fear, and the first real doubt in centuries about humanity. Finally, after what seemed like endless motion, Ethan reached the center of the arena. The creatures collapsed or retreated. The energy walls retracted. The arena fell silent, except for the soft hum of the lights. The alien observers stared in disbelief. This is impossible, whispered one. They are not just surviving, they are mastering. Ethan stood there, calm and collected, his chest rising and falling steadily. He had proven what humans were capable of, not just strength, not just skill, but patience, strategy, and endurance. The council realized, slowly, fearfully, that humans were no longer a species to be underestimated. They were more than survival, they were potential, they were power, and the galaxy had yet to see the full extent. Somewhere in the shadows, a dark figure smiled. The next phase of the test would not be physical, it would be mental. It would challenge the very limits of humanity. And when that test came, even the galaxy would tremble, because the true legacy of the Caldwells was not just survival, it was domination, it was the patience of centuries, it was the power of the human spirit. And the council would learn, the hard way, that humans were no longer to be underestimated, not by technology, not by aliens, not by fear, and not by anyone. The council chambers were silent, a tense quiet, heavier than any storm the galaxy had seen. The aliens had just witnessed humans survive to impossible tests, without weapons, without armor, without hesitation, and fear had taken root in their hearts. Ethan Caldwell stepped through the arena doors, his movements calm, measured. The shadowed figure from the arena followed behind, silent, watching, a faint presence, almost like a shadow of history itself. The Kravix commander's eyes glowed bright red. He stared at Ethan, his voice low but trembling slightly. "You have survived," he said, "yet we do not understand how." Ethan looked at him, calm as ever, his voice quiet. "But you will, because humanity does not show all its power at once." The council exchanged fearful glances. Some aliens whispered, "Perhaps we misjudged the human species." Others shook their heads in disbelief. "They cannot be so strong, so patient, so controlled." Ethan walked slowly to the center of the chamber, every step echoing, every eye fixed on him. The shadowed figure finally spoke, its voice carrying authority. "The human before you carries the legacy of generations, a line that endured horrors no other species survived, a line that trained in patience, strategy, and survival, and now, that legacy begins." The chamber trembled slightly, not from earthquakes, but from the weight of truth. Truth that the aliens had tried to hide from themselves. Humanity was no longer weak. It had never been weak. It had only waited. It had only prepared. Ethan raised his hand slightly, and the aliens instinctively froze. Not out of magic, not out of threat, but because humans could command respect without violence, a subtle, undeniable presence, the kind that reminded the galaxy that power was not always in machines, or claws or firepower. The shadowed figure turned to the council. "You have tested him, you have tried to break him, and yet he stands, not as a single human, but as the embodiment of his species." The elder of the council finally spoke, his voice quivering. "Humans, we have underestimated you. Perhaps for centuries." Ethan nodded once. "No longer," he said. He did not raise his voice. He did not need to. The weight of his words settled over the council like a tidal wave. Suddenly, alarms blared through the chambers. Red lights flashed, a signal from the shadowed figure's hidden device. It projected a hologram across the hall. Scenes of planets humans had once been forced to flee, scenes of wars, rebellions, and human victories long erased from galactic records. Every alien present saw the truth of human endurance, of human strategy, of human patience. The Kravix commander clenched his claws. "You, show us everything," he demanded. Ethan smiled faintly. "Not everything," he said, "only what is necessary." The chamber grew silent again. The council could no longer hide fear, respect, and awe. Humans were more than they had ever imagined, more than their records had admitted. Ethan took a slow step forward. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Humanity has waited, it has survived, and now it will rise." The shadowed figure nodded. "This legacy," it said, "begins now, and the galaxy will remember the name Caldwell." Outside the chamber, across Virex Prime, alerts lit up alien stations. News of the humans' victories spread faster than light. For the first time, every species in the council feared humans, not because they had won battles, not because they had machines, but because they had control, patience, and strategy. They had the human spirit, and that was unstoppable. Ethan turned, his eyes calm. He did not remove his clothes. He did not need to. They were not armor, they were history, and every alien in the chamber understood. Humanity had survived without weapons, without armor, without fear, and now it would never be underestimated again. The shadowed figure stepped forward, placing a hand lightly on Ethan's shoulder. "You are ready," it said, "not just for survival, but for leadership, for the legacy your ancestors dreamed of." Ethan looked out of the chamber windows. Stars stretched into infinity, planets, moons, and fleets of alien ships sprawled across the galaxy, and he knew the galaxy would never be the same. The Kravix commander finally knelt, not out of defeat, but out of understanding. He whispered, "Humans, we see you now, and we respect you." Ethan turned and walked slowly from the chamber. The council watched in stunned silence. The shadowed figure followed silently, and across the galaxy, somewhere in the stars, the first whispers of the Caldwell legacy began to spread, not as rumors, not as legends, but as truth. The galaxy would remember, and it would never again doubt the power of humanity, because humans were not weak, they were patient, they were clever, they endured, and the legacy of the Caldwells had only just begun.